celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Poor Alan, who's got what we had last week.
Yep, it's making the rounds.
That's what happens in the radio business is eventually someone who's in the same studio as you gets what you have, except we notice, of course, Joy. Joy, you're healthy because you're joining us on Skype today. And
I am.
You're not exposed to the germs that we have here in the studio. Alan, would you like some chicken soup?
Can Joy talk to germs? Can she talk to germs? Because I was told that germs would never want to live inside of me. That's what I was told.
Well, they've taken on a whole new plan about that, though, Alan.
Yeah, they must be scraping the bottom.
Speaking of that, I don't think a lot of people know that their pets can actually transmit germs.
Really?
Especially strep. I knew someone that got strep from their dog that passed it on from another family member, and the dog can carry it. They don't think that they get it, but they can carry it and give it to you.
Wow!
How do you know if you have strep? That's my biggest fear. I never know. Like if my throat hurts,
it's like little white spots on your back
open
of
your
throat.
mouth and look in the mirror, and you'll
look at the little punching bag, and if you see like white dots around there,
speckles.
Yeah, you might want to.
White speckles. Does it feel a certain way? What should I be feeling for?
It's just sore throat. If you have
Come here, Judy.
dots.
Look down here. Look down here.
Oh
my
gosh!
Close that up, man.
Yeah, see your underwear.
Yeah. go use the mirror,
Get the
Alan.
Lysol, please.
Yeah, thank you.
We're off target here. Big show. This is, of course, Animal Radio, which is hard to tell. Jon Katz will be joining us, famous author Jon Katz. And
he has another book out.
And it's interesting. I'm stuttering. It's interesting. He's been a big best-selling author. He's made a lot of money in the animal industry. I figured he was on top of the world, but apparently a few years ago, he got divorced and got into all kinds of financial trouble. And, of course, a dog came to his rescue. And he'll tell that story, as he does in the book. Mm-hmm. Also on the show today, now, is this a celebrity photographer?
Killed his wife.
Did he?
That's what happened. The dog killed his wife, and he got out of everything. So he didn't have to pay restitution.
Wow, man. Isn't that wild how a dog came to his rescue?
It's no surprise to me. Celebrity photographer, pet photographer, or just photographer?
Just a photographer.
Mike Ruiz will also be joining us on the show today. He's got an event that's coming up.
Let him tell us.
Also from NBC News San Francisco, our good friend Elise Kirchner will be joining us, and Dr. Marty Becker back.
He's talking about dogs that suffer certain ailments in silence.
Okay.
So you don't know.
Don't know that they're ill in,
they're ill in, yep.
Stace, what are you working on?
Well, it looks like scientists in Argentina have found something to do with cows that we can make useful besides just milk. You can actually power your car with some of this stuff that comes from cows. I'll tell you what it is coming up. If I could only do this with my dog, I'd be really rich. I'll give you the details on Animal Radio News.
I was going to say, what do they do? Leash up old Betsy?
Well, the methane.
I'm going to guess. It's manure.
Yes.
I mean, if they can make bombs out of manure, they can make a car run.
That stuff is powerful stuff. Let's face it. That's powerful stuff.
And let's head to Ascilla. Is it Ascilla? Ascilla. Where are you from, Ascilla?
I'm in Covina, California.
Oh, okay. What's up? What's going on with your animal? I got the dream team here.
Oh, am I on the radio?
It's Dr. Debbie. You're just talking to me. We're just two friends having a conversation.
Okay. Well, the reason that I called is that I don't have any pets right now. I used to have a little dog and a little cat, but I was kind of embarrassed, but I called yesterday, and they told me it was okay to call. I've been distressed because I have little neighborhood cats coming to my house, and they come to the north, south, east, west, all the borders of my yard. And the dear little cats just look at me, and they poop, and they pee, and they do things.
Oh.
And the thing poop, and they have bowel movements. I'm a nurse, registered nurse. They have bowel movements, and they urinate. And the thing is that it's causing me anxiety and distress because it's a powerful smell, and it comes into my entire house, and you walk up to my house, and I don't know what to do. And so I felt like, well, I'm not calling about, like, how to feed them, or I just want to know this question. I didn't know if it was okay to ask this question on your show.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's a rational question because, not everybody shares the love of cats being outdoors. I love cats, dogs, horses. I love the reindeers question you had yesterday. But I just wanted to know, since you're the experts, if there's something I can do that's kind and not cruel to help them kind of like realize that they shouldn't. But they're animals, so I don't know. Nobody wants poop in the garden. So let me ask you this. You said you don't have cats. Do you have any pets? None at all? And have you ever?
None. No, I used to have a little dog, and I used to have a little cat, but my cat Manu is in heaven. But I don't have any pets. I've had several dogs, and they kind of no longer here. A pit bull, a chow, and a little fluffy dog that was just a little cute fluffy dog. Okay. Well, and I think the way that you're approaching this is very, very kind, because definitely, we love cats, and I love cats all over the place, but I don't always want them urinating and defecating close to my living quarters. So I think that there are very good ways that we can do to keep these kitties away and to encourage them to go somewhere else to do their business. Now, one of the simplest things that I will use that's very natural is I'll start to spritz citrus oils, or even just take lemon rinds, orange rinds, and you can actually put those in the garden areas and the corners of your house. In general, my cooking, lemon rinds and orange. Yeah, so in general, citrus scents are offensive to cats, and they don't like to kind of hang out in those areas. So that's something you can do, and it's not going to harm them. Now, the other things, and depending on the weather, what you can arrange, there are some very good products that are motion-activated deterrents that are kind to the critters, but will help to keep... Don't want to hurt their ears where it's piercing their eardrums. Oh, you know what I mean? Not really the sound ones. Those don't really have much value. The things that will work are going to be more physical deterrents. So there's motion-activated sprinklers that, if it's not cold out, you can definitely use those, where once they break the eye of the beam, the sprinkler goes off. And, cats aren't really hip at getting squirted with water. So, and that's the value, is that once there's movement in the animals in the area, they get the negative aversion. So it's not something where, I've had people say, I'm going to have a squirt gun and squirt those cats away. It's not reasonable. You can't do that. There also are the same type and variety of motion-activated deterrents, and they'll express some of the canned air, some of that psst, psst kind of sound, and that works to deter cats as well. So you just might need to go online or check out your local pet store to see if they have those products, but they can be helpful. And then the other thing that, taken a hand from folks that hunt, is that you can get predator urine. So things like coyote urine or mountain lion urine, and you can get those extracts that, they use for their hunting. Will those also be like overwhelming and then defeat the purpose? Well, it depends on what overwhelming is. If the presence of a little bit of it helps to deter those cats, and if they're polluting it more, it's like the whole house. My whole house smells, and it's because it's everywhere. It's like, I don't know why they decided to come here. Is there a reason why they decided to come here? Well, usually they'll either seek out that's why I was asking if you had animals recently, because if there were cats in the home recently, that might still be an attraction. It seems like all the neighborhood cats like to come here because I see different colored ones. Yeah, and then they walk along the fence and they just look at me and they go like, "Okay, hello." So you might just be in the hotbed of your neighbors, and that might be the other thing, is just to have a communication with your neighbors and let them know what's going on and that your concerns, and that you recognize you don't want this in your yard, and certainly the health implications if you're out gardening with fecal matter in your garden. Okay.
I think these cats. I think it's a conspiracy. I think these cats are trying to tell you you're a cat lady. I think they're trying to tell me something, honestly, because you know how they communicate. And all animals communicate, and I'm thinking maybe there's another message. Honest, there must be, other than just going to the bathroom. There must be some other message. You think they want your house, maybe? But I think there's another message. So after talking to you, now I really get it.
Well, good. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, it does help a lot, tremendously. Well, and when you said the lemon rinds and the orange rinds, and then you said citrus oils. What did you mean by citrus oils? Because some things are poisonous. So what did you mean by citrus oils? Right. Well, you can just do something as simple as taking, some lemon juice. There are essential oils that you can use in diluted form, and you can use those as well. So, yeah, those kind of things.
Don't they also hate citronella oil?
Yeah, and citronella's kind of got that kind of pungent odor. I will say that I probably haven't, alone with citronella, I haven't had the most efficacy with that, and especially with dogs. I don't know about you, Alan, with citronella collars, if you've had folks use those, but I don't always find those to be a real great deterrent.
Okay, well, I want to thank all of you, and I listen to your show, and I love it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate
I just want to thank you for the love that you have for the animals. It's so fascinating, the variety of topics that come up on your show.
We have a lot of fun, and it takes listeners like yours.
It's contagious fun. You can feel it over the air.
It is contagious. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to tell you about the new Dell Latitude 6430 laptop computer, Asila, and it's and you know what? They smell like pee. People are saying when they open them up, they smell like.
That. Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
And that struck a chord. I thought, oh.
Hey, at least you don't have a bunch of those.
I heard about that on Friday.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your call.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good day, all of you.
You too.
All right?
Bye now.
You.
There you go.
I wonder how many cats are coming around, though. We never asked that question. How many cats does she see every day?
She's a cat lady in denial.
I'm telling you, man, those cats want to live with her. They love her. They're trying to profess their love to her, and they want her to understand that, yes, we want to be your kitties. That's what this is about.
We're going to head back to the phones in just a couple of seconds.
That was the coolest call ever, man.
You like that, huh?
Oh, yeah, that lady, she wouldn't let you talk, though. She
was
talking.
funny, yeah.
Yeah, she was really fun. I just want to know how many cats come around every day. Something tells me she's one of these kooky people that feeds them and then doesn't want them to come around.
No, she said she wasn't feeding them, though.
I don't know if
that would be too easy if she was feeding them.
I don't believe that lady. That lady's too nice. She's too nice. I think she might have made the mistake once.
Now, you know how cats will seek out people that don't really like the cat. Like if you have people over and your cat sits on their lap and it stares at them. There's something going on there. They know.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey folks, this is Jackson Galaxy. You're listening to Animal Radio. Please do everyone a favor, spay or neuter your animals today.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
Actually, Mount Pleasant, Iowa. I'm just pulling into a Walmart distribution center. I'm a truck driver, so...
We love ourselves some OTR. What's going on with your animal?
Oh, she's 13 years old, very vibrant still. She's a large border collie, kind of big boned for a border collie. She has hip problems right now, and I'm kind of worried and wondering what I can do to help her.
Okay. Now, you're saying she's big boned, so is that a nice way of saying she's overweight?
Well, no. She's, for a border collie, her prime weight when she was young, or she came off a cattle farm in Texas, is 60 pounds. For a female, that's large for a border collie. The males generally ran around 70 pounds.
Okay. I'm not giving you grief here, Keith, but, definitely weight management is the number one thing that pet owners can do, that you can control to make sure your pets are having the best mobility they can. So if she's in good weight, perfect. But if for other dogs that might not be in good weight, before I go to drugs and medicines, I'm going to really push to get weight loss, because that's the number one thing. So, are you currently using any remedies, any supplements, anything for her at this time?
I threw the glucosamine stuff at her. I was just more wondering, do they have... Because she's 13, she was a Frisbee dog all her life, jumping up and down. And, at 7, the doc told me that she was going to have hip problems. And I'm just wondering if there's any... She's having a real hard time getting up and down all the time now. If there's anything I can do to alleviate the pain. The weight is under
sure.
control, but she's still in pain.
Okay.
I can tell, you know.
Yeah, and in her age group, I'll tell you, I have a 13-and-a-half-year-old lab, and I'm going through the same thing. And it depends a bit on the degree of discomfort that we're having. If we're getting slow getting up and down, there's a little bit more effort to her movements. Dogs aren't going to cry, so I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the slow, purposeful movements that they do. And if we're seeing that, then I may just add in one medication. I may try something as simple as a joint support with a pain medicine. My own dog, I'll tell you right now, I have her on 5 different things because we're losing function. We're losing the benefit of these different medicines. So we'll need to find a spot for your dog somewhere within that, I'm assuming. So a joint support, absolutely. Put her on a glucosamine product. And even beyond that, there's hyaluronic acid supplements that can be given in the injection form or even in the liquid form. There's one called Lubricin that we talk about on the show quite a bit. So that can help. It's a low-level thing, so it's not going to help that pet that has really horrible arthritic hips and be the only thing that's going to fix that. So we're going to add in other things. My own dog, I have on Tramadol, which is an opioid-like pain medicine, which is very nice because it has low side effects and it's tolerated really well. And then I added in a non-steroidal pain reliever for my dog, and there's many out there. You'll need to talk to your vet about this. Make sure that she's healthy, she's got recent lab work. But a non-steroidal pain reliever is really important for a dog that's got a lot of arthritic problems, a lot of joint discomfort. There's only so far that supplements will go for those babies, and that's where my doggie's at. And then beyond that, I'll even add in, there's a medicine called gabapentin, and I just recently added that to my dog's regimen, and it's really helped her quite a bit. But that's where we kind of build upon this, and it's what we call multimodal pain management. So one medicine doesn't stop pain enough in many older pets, so we have to kind of dabble in different pathways to try to relieve their discomfort and to help them move. And so if you're new to starting something with her, I'm not advocating trying 5 things like my dog, but I would definitely see about getting into something that's maybe well tolerated like Tramadol or gabapentin, and then see about a non-steroidal with your vet.
Do they make like a cortisone injections when it gets, down the road?
Yeah.
Eventually your quality of life's going to come down to where she will have to be put down to understand that. But, she's just so full of life. I don't see that happening in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I'm going through the exact same things. The tails wagging, the jumping and the running for balls is still going on. So, for cortisone injections, they're really not the best thing when we're talking about managing pain. We can, if there's a particular joint, we'll sometimes give it intra-articular injection of cortisone, kind of like people. But if we're not doing those other steps that I've mentioned, that would be my first line therapy that I would try that. Now, I have looked into, and believe it or not, they actually do stem cell therapy for dogs with hip dysplasia and arthritis. So that's something, but it's a little bit more of a surgical procedure and probably not, routine use for the average pet owner. But it sounds like your baby's probably not a strong candidate for some of the surgeries that we might get into, like a hip replacement or another hip surgery called an FHO. Those are some very useful surgeries for pets that we're trying to manage that hip dysplasia, and they just can't control it with the medications alone. But yeah, you'd have to weigh that in a 13-year-old doggy, whether you want to get into surgery.
Well, I very much appreciate your, I'll look into that intermodal pain management you were talking about and talk to my vet about that. I appreciate your input.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Keith, and have a good one.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
A man in South Carolina jumped on the back of a 10-foot alligator to save his girlfriend's dog as it was being dragged into a lake. Brent Carey was taking a walk with his girlfriend and her dog Chance when an alligator jumped out of the water and started to drag Chance into the lake. Carey jumped on the back of the alligator and frantically wrestled Chance out of his deadly jaws. Finally, the gator gave up the little dog, who ran safely to shore. Jessica Turner, Chance's owner, said she can't close her eyes without seeing little Chance's head in the gator's mouth. The Department of Natural Resources sternly informed Carey that he or anyone else should never jump on the back of a 10-foot alligator. Just in case you were thinking of doing it. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. The Food and Drug Administration has finally proposed some rules that would govern the production of pet food and farm and animal feed. This is the very first time. The regulation would help prevent foodborne illnesses in both animals and people. And officials at the agency said as people can become pretty sick from handling contaminated animal food and also from touching pets that have eaten it. The proposal comes 6 years after the biggest pet food recall in history when a Chinese producer contaminated dog and cat food with melamine. That's a compound used in plastics, and it causes the deaths of animals all across the U.S. Plus, we've had all those problems with the jerky treats that have come from China. Argentine scientists think they found a way to transform the gas that's created by the bovine digestive system into fuel. Sounds funny, but it's true. An innovation that could curb greenhouse gases that cause global warming. They use a valve and pumps, and this experimental technique was developed by Argentina's National Institute of Agricultural Technology. They channeled the digestive gases from cows' stomach cavities through a tube in a tank. The gases, which otherwise are commonly known as burps, or in Spanish, eruptos. You know what we call them in English. Anyway, pull my finger. They're processed to separate methane from other gases like carbon dioxide. Methane's the main component of natural gas used to fuel everything from cars to power plants. Dolphins are pretty smart, and dogs, of course, are adorable. Elephants are powerful, and rattlesnakes are frightening. Those are some of the findings of YouGov.com's first ever Animal Awards. Nearly a third of the respondents give dolphins a nod for brains. They consider them the most intelligent animal, but a large percent think that chimpanzees are the smartest. Dogs, of course, come in third. But dogs rank first for looks, most believing that our canine friends deserve the most cute title. Cats came in the number 2 spot. Rabbits have a third place. Meanwhile, a good chunk have no desire to encounter, guess what? A rattlesnake. That's been named the scariest animal. A British man says he got a quick yes when he proposed to his girlfriend via a dolphin. According to Orange News, Alex Rigby planned this romantic gesture when he and his now fiancée, Debbie Preston, were recently in Florida for a family wedding. Alex fulfilled one of Debbie's dreams by taking her swimming with dolphins, and then he made her even happier when he had one of the marine animals swim toward her with a buoy that said, "Debbie, will you marry me?" However, the dolphin wasn't responsible for the engagement ring. Alex planted it back on the beach for Debbie to get when they returned to dry land. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Don't forget, you can also ask your questions directly from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's a free download, and listen to the show anytime you want. Here's a strange story, comes out of New York. You buy a Dell computer lately?
No, I don't have one personally.
I saw this story. This story's weird.
A noxious feline odor has some Dell customers up in arms. People who own the Dell Latitude laptops are complaining that their pricey new computers are emitting the smell of cat urine. Which is...
Yeah, isn't that cool? What a cool feature.
Yeah. Wonder if I had to pay extra for that.
That's That's a horrible smell, by the way.
Oh, no kidding. Cat urine.
Well, only if you don't appreciate the finer things in life.
Well, it turns out they responded. Dell says the strange scent is related to a manufacturing process which the company has since fixed. There was a whole blog, and I was checking out the blog on this. People were like smelling different parts of their computer to try to figure out what part it was.
Ew.
Thought it was the mouse pad.
Could be worse. Imagine if it was a car and like you got in.
That new car smell.
Yeah.
That's a weird story.
Isn't it?
Well, they're not made in the country, right, Del?
Who knows where they're made? I don't even think they're made on the earth.
This is the new feature. It's the new pee pad.
I'll bet you money. How much you want to bet?
That's good. Good, Adam.
I'll bet you money that somebody actually took a leak on that thing, or actual cats took leaks on these things.
I bet they did. I bet they got into like the computer, the warehouse or something, and sprayed all the boxes.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
I fix you, Americans. Okay, we put cat in workroom here.
Yeah. What dialect was that? Just
That was
for curiosity.
Indian.
That was Indian?
I just drew out an accent, that's all.
Hey, did you guys see the story where they're using Britney Spears music to get rid of Somali pirates now? Because they can't stand it. So they play it through huge speakers over the ocean.
Well, they've done that in past conflicts. They've used rock and roll, all kinds of heavy metal, and now it's Britney Spears, huh? That would do it for me.
The military should, instead of using bombs, it should be cat urine smell and Britney Spears music. A bomb explodes and that comes out.
Anyone would give up on that.
Listen, coming up in just a couple of minutes, Joey Villani will have your tip for the week. This week, it's all about fleas. It seems like every week's about fleas because it's a noxious flea season. It really is.
No, you say that again. Say that again. You're downplaying my tip here. It's about flea bite dermatitis. Okay, that goes along with fleas. So we talk about one, we got to go into another. There's different stages, Hal, of things.
I'm sorry if I didn't give your segment the juice that it really needed.
Right away, it's another flea tip type thing. Didn't you pick up on that there, Alan? Come on.
Yes, I did, Joseph.
Thank you.
Yes, and I am appalled and upset.
Me too. I'm very taken back.
In just a couple of minutes, we'll also have Elise Kirchner, investigative reporter for NBC San Francisco, joining us once again. This time reporting on about 500,000 marijuana plants that are killing animals. We're going to find out what that's all about in just a few minutes. Also, Jon Katz, author Jon Katz. Let's head to James. Where are you, James?
Oh, I'm in Moreland Hills, Ohio.
You got a dog, a cat, iguana, fish? Who do you share?
I have a dog. It's a Rottweiler mix and stuff. He's about a year and a half old. We rescued him from the APL. And we're just having a problem. We've trained him with everything else. We're just having a problem with him urinating on furniture.
Ooh. What do you think
That is a problem. That is a very big problem. Well, do you know why dogs pee on furniture, James? Do you have an idea?
I have no idea whatsoever.
Well, most of the time, big dogs like Rottweilers, powerful dogs, and even small dogs that are not so powerful, they pee on furniture and they pee inside the house to mark the territory because they don't think that the humans are powerful enough to protect the territory. So the dog doesn't respect you usually. And the way to get a dog to respect you, what most people do, James? They give affection first. And when you do that with a dog, what'd you say, buddy?
I said that would be my wife and daughter.
Well, yeah. See, when you do that, you don't have to be mean to a dog. It's not being mean.
Not mean.
What I'm saying to you, James, is that dogs need structure. Dogs need firm leadership. They need confident, calm, powerful humans leading them. When you're talking about a Rottweiler, you're talking about a big working dog and a dog that is a very powerful dog and a dog that needs to be led. And if you don't lead a dog like that, they will take the leadership role. When they start peeing in the house, unless it's, a long pee, which you should take the dog to the vet, make sure nothing's wrong. They're doing a spritz here and there, the same places every day. What they're doing is they're marking their territory because they don't feel like you can protect the territory, like you can defend it. And the only way to change that is you've got to take the leadership role with the dog, and affection comes last. First comes discipline and structure, then comes affection. So you need to start taking your dog for walks on the leash, and you also need to correct your dog immediately when you see him doing it. So you have to.
Believe me, I do. That seems to be my wife and daughter with the affection. I am the stern one. And
when you're home, does your dog mark when you're there?
No.
Okay. So it only happens when you're not there.
Yes.
Okay. Well, your wife and daughter have to be on the same page with you, or the problem will not go away. And the other thing you have to do is you have to clean all the areas really good with a specific cleaner that takes the scent away, because the dog will just keep remarking wherever the scent is. He'll just keep revisiting and remarking. Now, a good thing for your wife and daughter to do is to keep your dog confined to an area. Either it's the kitchen or it's a crate. You keep the dog confined until you're ready to observe him. Then you let him out. As soon as he makes his move to mark, your wife has to issue a stern correction. Take him outside. When he starts peeing outside, you go, good dog, good boy, and you give him a treat. So you reward the behavior you want, and you correct the behavior you don't want. Does that make sense to you, buddy?
Oh, it makes a great deal of sense. That's what I've been preaching to my wife and daughter for the longest. So believe me, I do understand. I've had 4 kids, so.
Yeah, you do understand. You give affection when the dog is doing what you want, when the dog is calm, when the dog is just laying there. You never give affection when the dog's excited, when the dog does something wrong, and you don't give attention. Like, a lot of people think when they yell at a dog, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing over there? Stop that!" They think that is scolding a dog. Really, you're giving the dog attention, because a dog doesn't distinguish between positive and negative attention. They just love attention, period. So when they're doing something you don't want, you have to correct them, but you don't give them attention. It's a quick movement. It's a jolt of the leash. It's a poke in the neck. It's a hey, and you take them outside immediately.
Pretty much what I have. I have a choker chain on him, and I do that. You know, I snap the chain, then I take him outside.
That's what
I point to the area that he's been bad at. Bad dog. No, firmly take him outside, and go from there.
Don't even point to the area. Just as soon as he makes his move, as soon as you see him cozying up to something and he's going to lift his leg, you give him the snap of the chain and you take him outside, no talking. And
well,
you
see,
wait
that's the only problem, because, I'm blind, so I can't exactly see when he's doing his thing. I can only tell after he's done that.
Well, that's a critical point you kind of left out there, James.
Okay.
That's a critical point. Because
I
if you
won't believe it's a critical point when I come upon it, too, and I'm saying, oh, my, great.
Yeah, you can't really correct a dog if you can't see him doing something wrong. So your wife and you, your daughter and you have to work in tandem. You have to work as a team.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Let's head on over to San Francisco, and reporter for the NBC affiliate there, Elise Kirchner. We welcome her back to Animal Radio Airwaves, this time telling us about 500,000 marijuana plants that have been recovered from the national parks there. And I guess
up by San Francisco in the Humboldt, I guess.
Humboldt, where they go all of that. And it's affecting the animals there. What's going on? Fill us in.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the controversy surrounding the legalization of pot, but little talk about what growing it is doing to the environment. And we found that illegal pesticides are actually wreaking havoc on our national parks and on federal land in California.
You mean pesticides they're using on the pot plants?
Yeah, so they're putting these pesticides on the plants to keep animals off it without realizing the impact it's having on the environment and wildlife in particular.
No less the stoners in the area.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually moving beyond that. It's really turned to organized crime. These are well-operated criminal activity that's going on now. And we found that a rare species called the Pacific fisher is actually being impacted the most. It's an animal that's already on the verge of extinction. There are only 300 left in Northern California, and one scientist we spoke to said that 86% of the fishers he's studying have been exposed to the poison.
Those are like raccoons, right?
Exactly, yeah, and 6 have died so far. Other endangered species also being impacted here, spotted owls, Sierra Nevada red fox, and the Humboldt martin is also at risk.
What are they doing here? Are they chewing on the pot plants that have pesticides on them? How's it actually transmitting to them?
So what what's happening is they're putting these pesticides. A lot of the marijuana that's being grown now is genetically enhanced. It's like massive bud.
I know.
And it's a lot of money. So they're trying to protect these plants by putting pesticides on it. And it's a type of rat poison. So we traveled to Fresno and Humboldt counties, and we saw all this damage. It was just really, really saddening to see it. My photographer and I hiked with a team of scientists, and we went to one of these abandoned grow sites and saw all the trash. We're talking about old food, wrappers, and again, most alarming, we saw empty bags of rodenticide. That's a form of poison that's banned from being used on or near agriculture, and some pot farmers are using it to keep animals off of their valuable plants. Guys, this is so strong, a quarter teaspoon can kill a lion.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. So what are they doing to remedy this situation? Has anybody come up with solutions?
Well, that's really the problem here is, last year a government task force here in California spent $23 million hunting down and seizing marijuana plants on public land. But there's little funding set aside for the cleanup. That's all left to volunteers. And because these chemicals and pesticides are so strong, they stay in the land for a long time. And we're just seeing the impact now.
Now, I have another question. If they're using these pesticides on the plants themselves, what happens to people who smoke this stuff?
We don't know yet. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns that are going on. We do know that there's now fear that because those pesticides are so strong, it's getting into the water supply. We traveled to Hoopa Valley Indian Reservation in Humboldt County. Wildlife biologists there and those living on the reservation, they're so afraid of these toxicants that they no longer will drink from the river there. Something they did for generations, and now because the wildlife are dying, they fear the water is also being tainted.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine it gets into the water supply. Has there been an actual connection proven between the rodenticide and the animals like the Pacific fisher being affected?
Yes, there's no doubt. Wildlife biologists about 3 years ago started looking at this going, something's not right here. And what they did is they started tracking these animals, and then they'd recover them once they died, and they are doing necropsies on the animals at UC Davis. And there is a direct link between this rodenticide and the cause of death.
Okay.
This has got to be like, isn't the community just in uproars over this? I mean, this just to me sounds so upsetting. Here we have animals that are dying, and people are then going to be exposed to this product, and then their whole environment, their community is exposed. So what is the community doing?
I mean, they're terrified. It's one of those things where we're just starting to see the impact, and hopefully by us, people in the media like us talking about it, we'll get the word out. But they're terrified, and they're upset. And they want the money there to go in and be able to do the cleanup, not just bust these pot farms, but then go in and really do the job that needs to be done to make sure that people living in the surrounding communities are safe. Not to mention, guys, that this is happening on or near national parks. We're talking about Yosemite, Sequoia, Kings Canyon. So then there's a whole other issue of safety for hikers.
Yeah, sure. Well,
so there's no laws against this type of pesticide. There's so many laws against things you can put on plants now. There's nothing against this.
It is illegal to use this form of rodenticide on or near agricultural land.
That's sort of moot.
We're talking about an illegal activity that people are using.
That's moot, yeah. It's an illegal activity already to begin with. So, exactly. I mean, they're not going to say, let's not put the rodenticide on because it's illegal.
If you're going to do it illegally, at least keep within the law of how you're growing it, right?
Yeah. Well, I know counties like Humboldt County, their major part of their economy is pot.
And it's moving beyond Humboldt. We went to Fresno County, which is really the new ground zero for pot cultivation in California.
Wow.
Went up on a chopper with law enforcement. It was unbelievable. I was looking out this chopper, and they're not hiding it from above. You can just see pot farm after pot farm after pot farm. Law enforcement can't even keep up. They could go out every single day this year and bust these sites, and there still would be sites.
Okay. Well, there you go. Elise Kirchner, investigative reporter for NBC in San Francisco, reporting today. Is there there's a website where you have more information? You have the whole article, in fact, that you wrote.
And a lot of this, as we're talking about, is very visual, so definitely worth watching the report. That's NBCBayArea.com.
One more time, NBC what?
NBC Bay Area News.com.
Okay, we'll put links over at
And I want to tell everybody out there growing pot, come on, guys, let's be careful with the animals.
Okay?
If you're going to do it illegally, let's not harm the animals in the
that's
process.
Really freaky when you think about it. I mean, what about the legally grown stuff? Where does that come from, and what are they spraying that with? How do you know it's safe? All that stuff.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, and of course, it's only going to proliferate.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team: veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
You got fleas?
Yes, we do. Got fleas. How about you?
Do not sweat. Joey Villani will tell you how to get rid of those fleas. Just a couple of minutes right here on Animal Radio. Jon Katz will be joining us, author Jon Katz. This is very exciting. Also, Dr. Becker, talking about the silent problems that you may have with your animals. Because, they don't speak up when they're hurt. They're ill. And
they're programmed to hide it, because in the wild, you can't show that you're weak because you'd be, eaten
You'd be
alive.
eaten.
Yeah. So you have to show that you're still tough, even though you don't feel good. Unlike Hal.
Yeah, paper cut, I'm out.
Yep.
You're
down for the count. Oh, yeah.
I'll tell everyone.
I'm just stymied by you two. I'm stymied. I'm bewildered. I'm confused.
Yes.
You want to know why?
Are you appalled?
Yes.
Well, there you go, talking about this genius doctor, and your pets can't tell you how they feel. And what do you do? What do you two do? You go away for a romantic weekend. You don't tell Ladybug because you can't, and then she's acting out, and you don't know why.
Yeah, this is true. For those of you that just tuned in, we went away for a weekend that we haven't had in 15 years without the dog. And when we came back, the dog was misbehaving. And I blame it on Alan.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, of course.
She watches us. She watches us discipline the cats. So then the next time the cat does it, she thinks she needs to discipline it. And since we were gone, she took over the disciplining the cats. Mm-hmm. So now that we come back, she still thinks she has that role.
Yes, Dr. Debbie.
I was going to say, the problem, I think, is that when you went away, you did not come back and get her that important thing, that T-shirt, my parents went away to California and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. You should have gotten her something.
However, that's not true. We did get her a collar.
Oh, yeah, she got a spike collar.
Yeah, so.
I put the collars on the bed before we go for a walk, and I let her pick which one, and whichever one she goes over to and licks is the one she wears that day.
Oh, that's cute.
So she wears
that reminds me, when I was a child, I used to put a little spread of treats out in front of my dog, and I'd let him sniff and lick each one, and then I'd let him have one of them, whichever one he picked.
So sometimes she wears the black spiked, and then sometimes she wears the pretty pink bow. So she has her moods.
Help me, Alan.
I'm sickened by all of this.
I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. What happened? Stacy, what are you working on?
Just like your kids, your pets are a reflection of you. And my dogs have been itching like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, as a dog parent, what have I done that they're not, I'm not getting rid of these fleas? Well, I'll tell you why your dogs and cats are itching, and you're not alone. So don't feel like you're a bad parent. It's a problem. I'll give you the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
I do have a good flea story, too. It's a sad flea story.
Oh, I want to hear it. It's a sad flea story?
Yeah, it is. It's the dark side of fleas.
Oh, well, let's get it out of the way so that we know that it's all uphill from here. Tell us the story. Remember, cut sideways, it bleeds faster, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead. Tell us the sad.
Okay. Well, so everyone talks about fleas and the discomfort, the itching, the scratching, all that. But, there's definitely a much bigger problem that we can have going on, and that's actually going to be related to parasites. And I recently had a little 5-week-old kitten that was covered in fleas, and the owner removed the fleas. But unfortunately, the kitten had a severe anemia from parasites. And so not only from tapeworms, but from the fleas feeding on the animal. So it was actually just so anemic from the blood loss. And unfortunately, the little one didn't make it. But, in those situations, they actually can be bled so badly that they're anemic and they will need a blood transfusion. So it's very sad. So there is more to fleas than just the itch.
I'm itching now.
I know.
Sorry.
Here, scratch right here. Scratch right here. I can't reach my back.
I hate them with all my heart. I hate them.
Yeah, what purpose do they serve on this earth?
We hate fleas here at Animal Radio.
I hate them.
# fleas suck.
Hate them all.
Hi, Delilah. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Where are you calling from today?
San Antonio, Texas.
Beautiful Texas. Well, what's up? I have Dr. Debbie right here.
Hi. Well, hi, Dr. Debbie. I have a question. I have 3 boxers, and South Texas allergy season is here. I have one white boxer where you can just really see her eyes red and her belly's red. I do give them Benadryl, but I was just wondering how much is too much. I take a daily, allergy medication, but for my dogs, I didn't know if daily was too much, or I don't want to upset their stomach because we did kennel them while we're at work. And then bring them out when we get home. So I didn't want to upset their stomach and then have them mess their kennel, while they're home or while we're not home.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the situations with Benadryl that people and animals are very different. And there are a couple of medications where, either humans metabolize it much faster or they're more sensitive. And for dogs, their tolerance for Benadryl is a lot higher. So in general, we generally give about 1 milligram per pound of body weight. So for a person, we take 25 milligrams maybe. For a dog that size, we might be given 50 milligrams. So it's a difference in just the kind of the way the animal processes the medication. So, definitely dogs will exhibit some sedation, drowsiness. Occasionally, some will have vomiting or diarrhea with that. But generally, Benadryl is pretty well tolerated. And it's something to kind of get you through that little allergy pinch there. That might be totally fine. Now, you said they're red in their skin. Are they all having the skin symptoms, or is it just isolated to 1 or 2?
Well, I have 2 brindles and my white boxer. The white boxer is the one where you can tell her eyes get really red when she comes in from being outside, and her belly is red. And they all do very well with the Benadryl. I was worried if I give them too much every day, if that would start to, if I would see some side effects or not.
Yeah, mostly just the sedation, and you don't have to worry about like long-term side effects as far as, with something like a steroid. You have to be concerned about the liver, suppressing the immune system. With the Benadryl, you're not going to really get that, and dogs aren't going to get hooked on it in any way. So that's generally a pretty safe thing. Now, I do like to use any antihistamine for allergic pets. I like to use it in conjunction with an omega fatty acid with a fish oil supplement, because those two can work together kind of in a joint method as a anti-inflammatory for the skin to help with that itch. So that might be one thing if you're not doing, to add that into the regimen. And then, if you're not to the point where you got sores and things like that, I'm definitely a fan of the colloidal oatmeal baths. You can find different products on the market, but it's a nice soothing thing you can do. Get some short-term itch relief that lasts maybe 2 days to 3 days, and you can repeat it in another couple days for dogs. It's just like if we got the chickenpox and you sink down into that Aveeno bath, it has that same kind of relief for the skin. And then, oh my goodness, you say you have a white boxer. Oh, I have not met a white boxer that does not have skin problems. So lesson learned to anybody who's considering them, be ready for skin problems. Just that coloration, they definitely are plagued with their skin itches, rashes, and so forth. So.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your call, and hope everything gets back on track there with that allergy season. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Guests at a Missouri restaurant complained when one of the patrons was monkeying around. Well, mostly because he's an actual monkey. Debbie Rose of Springfield says Richard, her monkey, gives her the emotional support she needs to overcome an anxiety disorder. Without Richard, she wouldn't feel comfortable enough to go out in public, shop for groceries, or eat in a restaurant. The local health department determined that Richard wasn't a service animal because he wasn't trained to do a specific task. But a representative from the Justice Department in Washington said a case could be made for the emotional support that Richard the monkey gives his owner. Until they sort it out, sounds like Debbie and Richard may have to hit the drive-thru. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Portions of today's show are a repeat from an earlier broadcast.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, it's Alan Cable. A couple weeks ago, a Kentucky police officer was shot and killed in a suspected ambush. He had a canine partner. His name was Figo. At the funeral for his best friend and partner, pictures were taken of Figo with his paw on the coffin. Figo's been retired now and will live with Officer Ellis's family. Here are some news people commenting on the photo.
It's just an incredible photograph. Sweet. It looks like he's grieving there. So sweet.
The dog definitely knows from the scent that his former best friend and leader is in that coffin. You know, a dog relies on his sense of smell to interpret the world, much the way people depend on sight. This weekend, while I was out walking my dog, there's a fountain, and he was taking a drink. He likes to lay down when he's taking a drink. He's such a big dog. Gets hot real easily. While he's doing that, another dog comes up from behind him and begins sniffing you know where. Anyway, my dog just keeps drinking, paying no attention. He's been around people and other dogs his entire life. I socialized him a lot when he was a puppy, and I continue to do that. So when a dog circles around back to give the old snifferoo, as long as he has good manners, my dog will let him. Well, the human couldn't have been more upset. She runs up and starts scolding the dog to leave my dog alone. Leave him alone, he's trying to take a drink, she says. I started telling her that this is how dogs learn about each other. This is the way they greet each other. That the rear to another dog is like the face to another person. She didn't hear a thing I said. She wasn't listening. And I could see the look of disgust on her face. I could see what was going on in her mind. The thought of putting your nose, just makes some people very uncomfortable. That's because in the human world, you'd never do that. Although I think it would be funny if you did. We walk up and shake hands or we give each other a hug. So there are certain things that dogs do because they're dogs that most humans would never dream of doing. So when some folks see dogs acting like dogs, it grosses them out. It's an important lesson. Dogs are dogs. They don't see the world the way you and I do. They see the world with their noses. And those noses are gonna go, well, everywhere. So smile, sit back, and tell yourself, that's my dog. Get more tips at animalradio.com.
This is
Animal Radio.
Hi, this is Jenna Fisher on Animal Radio. Please spay and neuter your animals.
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort, Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
I get a paper cut, you'll see me running around the office complaining. But when something's wrong with the animals, oftentimes we won't even know that something's wrong. And I guess this is what you call suffering in silence. And we have veterinary correspondent Dr. Marty Becker, America's veterinarian, with us. How you doing, Doc?
Doing good, my friend. And you know what? I had to actually take my own dog into the vet today. This sounds crazy, but I live about 60 miles away from where I practice. And so we got home off a trip, and our dog, you can tell, we got home really late last night and wasn't doing well. So my wife dropped her off at the local veterinarian that's close by, who's a dear friend of mine, very smart. So, but you can tell. Here's what I want to tell you about this. I could tell within 5 seconds of seeing her that she wasn't feeling right.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's Dr. Mom. Most of the primary caregivers are moms, are females. And you just know something's not right with her. And I know her so well, I knew it wasn't the fact that she missed me or anything. What was it that
gave it away?
There's two things. One, she was a little more sluggish, and so her activity level was different. And then her eyes looked really dull. Just her whole countenance was one of just like, I don't feel good. And you don't have to be a veterinarian to notice these things. For dogs, you'll see a dog, the biggest signs that something is, let's not talk about pain for a second. Let's just talk about not doing right. Their appetite has changed, their activity levels have changed, their bathroom habits have changed. Those are the three things that you see the most. So if a dog doesn't want to eat, there's usually something wrong. And if their activity level, normally they're out running around chasing stuff, and all of a sudden they don't show any interest in it, or they're really reluctant to go for a walk and they like to walk. Or if you go outside and that normal Tootsie Roll little stool is mushy, or you see diarrhea, or you see them drinking a lot of water or urinating a lot, those are the signs something is wrong. And if you're talking about pain, it's even worse for cats about hiding it. But for dogs, they'll be reluctant to do things that require what we call chiropractic maneuvers. And that is, jumping on or off a bed or a couch, going upstairs. When they walk, they'll kind of bunny hop rather than striding out, and be really hard to. They'll kind of have a hard time getting up on their feet. They'll put their front feet up and have a really hard time putting their back feet up underneath them. And for cats, again, if a dog can miss a meal or two and not have any problem. When a cat's not eating, that is a serious medical issue, and need to see a veterinarian right away, because they've probably been hiding this for days to weeks, and you just haven't noticed it. And by the time you finally notice them not eating, but what they'll do if there's hidden signs of pain, there's a saying among veterinarians, sick as supper. So if they show signs of being sick or injured, they're preyed upon in the wild. So they do everything they can to mask it. So these cats will all of a sudden not use a litter box. You're thinking, what the heck? They always use the litter box. Why is he going outside the box, or she? And it's because it's too painful to go up over that little lip. They won't groom themselves as well. So you start seeing, rather than a sleek, shiny coat, you'll notice places where they haven't properly groomed themselves. They don't want to get up in the window, or don't want to get up on the scratching post to sit up there. Or you notice them not even sharpening their claws in the morning like they normally would. Or there's lots of changes in temperament. That's another thing we see. Sometimes cats and dogs become very aggressive just because of pain. And you're thinking, this dog is a pooch pacifist. What the heck? That he's ouchy, or he growled at me or something. They're in so much pain. This is one of the things, we've talked about fear-free visits, Hal, and this is one of the good things about having a less fear when you go to the vet, because a lot of times what happens, these pets get really anxious and they have this epinephrine surge, and so it masks pain, it masks discomfort, and you go in and you just can't reproduce it.
Yep.
You take these legs through the full range of motion, or you press here in the abdomen, and nothing happens. So you get more accurate lab results, and you get more accurate physical exam if you could bring him in a less anxious state. But I just want to state, I had a cat recently that was just wasn't doing right, and all the tests came back normal. We sent the lab work off, everything came back normal. And rather than just saying, well, it's nothing, we knew it was something, and so we took dental radiographs, which are digital, and lo and behold, it had an abscess in a tooth.
Wow.
And literally, this cat was in so much pain, even under anesthesia. When we pulled it out, this cat just almost gave this like, oh, God, that feels good kind of motion, And as soon as the cat woke up, it was just back to being a kitten again.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez. I had a cat that used to hide in the kitchen. The corner of the kitchen, would go on the chairs underneath the table and would just sit there. And I would find him, and his eyes were dilated, and he just wouldn't move. And it was Not normal.
What did it turn out to be? You remember?
I don't know. I don't know if he had I think he had an abscess. I think it was from a fight.
Well, when somebody comes to Alan about one of these behavioral problems, usually the first thing Alan will say is make sure that you've gone to the vet first, because a lot of times these acting out
all of a sudden
could be something that's wrong with them that the veterinarian could help you with.
I'm like you. About you mentioned about a paper cut. You tell everybody. I mean, I'm the same way. I flew in last night and my ear didn't clear, and I just wanted to get on the PA system and ask if there was a doctor on board. I mean, it was just killing me. And then you think of these dogs who suffer in silence because of that. You open that flap up and it's just a putrid pocket of infection and inflammation in that ear. Or you flip the flap and, we get a little cold sore that's about the size of a pencil eraser and we just think we're dying.
Yep, that's
and
me.
Their things are like a flamethrower went over it, and they're not, they have the same neural pathways we do. It's not that they don't feel it. It's just that they're tough, but this takes, the proverbial years off their life and life off their years unless you address this.
Well, I aspire to be like my dog.
Well, dogs are like women because women are tough. We can.
There you go. Dr. Marty Becker, Animal Radio Veterinary Correspondent and America's Veterinarian. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you, friends.
We'll talk to you soon. We're going to head back to the phones.
I could sit at a bar with that guy and just listen to that guy talk forever.
I could sit in a bar forever, too.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. I don't know if you've noticed, but dogs and cats are itching a lot more. There's a reason, though. The warm temps and relatively dry summer in combination with a mild winter last year have opened up to the flea infestation. Dr. Carrie Waterhouse of Lake Union Veterinary Clinic in Seattle said that at a time of year when I might see 1 or 2 flea infestations in the course of a week, I'm now seeing as many as 6 per day. He said dogs and cats appear to be equally affected, and being an indoor animal doesn't seem to guarantee any immunity to the problem. In addition to the environmental factors, there's a lot of social factors that play a role because dogs are having more dog-to-dog interactions, like at daycare, dog parks, pet-friendly workplaces. So fleas are even savvy enough they can hitch a ride in a backpack. Your purse, your clothing, making the indoor cat at risk now because, the dogs can expose the cats to the fleas. Prevention of the infestation is obviously the best measure to avoid problems. There's a lot of products that you can use, and if you use them safely, they can actually protect your pet from infestation. But some of the over-counter products, in addition to being somewhat ineffective, have been linked to adverse reactions and even pet death. So you want to talk to your vet before you start a product. Make sure you're using the right one for them. Giant George, the Tucson Great Dane, who had the title of the world's tallest dog, unfortunately has died. The sad news was announced in October. It says George passed away peacefully, surrounded by loved ones, just a month before his 8th birthday. Guinness World Records said the 250-pound blue Great Dane was the tallest dog ever on record. He was 3 feet 7 inches tall from paw to shoulder. It's that time of year when you think about holiday cards, something different. A lot of people are starting to use electronic cards. How about your pet doing your card this year? My Talking Pet. It's the most downloaded app from the App Store. The 99-cent program lets you animate the mouths of animals and people in photos with a sound file. You can make them talk. You upload your photo or choose from a gallery, and then you speak a message into a microphone. You share it as a video greeting on Facebook or email it out to your friends. Something kind of different. It's cute, too. Check it out. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Jamie Farr, and you're listening to the Animal Radio Network. And remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear Free, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfree.com to find care near you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Dr. Debbie answering your vet medical questions. Dog trainer Alan Cable, dog father Joey Villani, and animal communicator Joy Turner, all here to help you out. But first, I welcome back best-selling author Jon Katz. Hey, John, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Well, please don't call me sir, buddy.
Well, I'm just trying to be polite,
We're on a first letter basis. That's all you got to do.
All right, that's good. I'm convinced.
The grass is always greener, I've always thought. And I'm thinking back to about 2007. I'm thinking you're a best-selling author. You're on top of the world. And then all of a sudden you get a divorce, a marriage that was 35 years. You would think it would stick after 35 years. And to top all of that, you had financial troubles, too. So I thought you were just on top of the world, but you were having some troubles of your own.
Well, there was a bunch of storms. There was the divorce. There was the recession. There was the collapse of publishing as I knew it. Mm-hmm. And they all occurred at about the same day, so it was a bit exciting. It was a challenge, and that was a rough time. But fortunately, I'm in a remote place in upstate New York, and I was looking for somebody to share my life with, and it was right across the street in one of my barns. So it turned out to be a bit of a fairy tale.
Wait a minute,
with a dog.
Oh, wait a minute, barn animal, or you're talking about barns? When you say barn, I'm a little
worried.
worried.
Barn animals too. They were definitely those.
Well, this lady
this was an artist. This was an artist barn animal.
Yeah.
Oh.
The lady that you had a crush on, she had a dog. I believe still has a dog that maybe you had to kind of endear yourself to first.
Yes. Well, you're talking about Frieda, who I lovingly call the hell dog.
Okay.
And Frieda is a Rottweiler-shepherd mix. It's the kind of dog I have generally avoided my entire life. And Frieda was a junkyard dog in Glens Falls, New York, who got pregnant, and their owner took her up on this New York State Thruway and threw her out of the car, and in the Adirondacks, where she lived for 3 or 4 years, kind of hunting and living on her own.
On her own, like in the wild.
Went in the wild. They were very rough. I mean, for Frieda, that probably wasn't as rough as you might think, but she probably loved it. But she made her way back down south again. And then the SPCA spent a year catching her, and they caught her. Finally, they had to drug some stake to get her. And she was in the shelter, the SPCA, for nearly a year, where hundreds of sane people passed up the chance to take her home until my wife walked in and looked at her and said, "She's adorable." And they basically just said, "Take her. We don't care if you have a fence. You have to fill anything out. Just take her home."
Oh.
And so she did. And when I met Maria, they were like Thelma and Louise, these two. They were these two man-haters. Together up in the country, and I knew I was not going to get Maria if I didn't work things out with Frieda.
So the two of them got along very well.
Very well. They love it. They
story.
each thought the other's the most adorable thing in the world. Maria still thinks Frieda's adorable. No one thinks Frieda caught a deer last year in the backyard.
Oh, that's awesome!
It was sitting, and she was just sitting on it. She didn't hurt it. She was just sitting on it. So she's a lot of dogs. So I was very motivated. My entire love life and repairing my life was dependent on it. So I bought about $500 worth of beef jerky, and I launched the beef jerky campaign. Where Frieda had to be in a barn because she was so wild. She couldn't come in the house. She couldn't be near my dogs or the farm animals. So I'd go in the barn, I would throw beef jerky at her and run, just make it out the door. So it took about 6 months, and I was able finally to get a leash on her. She would take my arm in her mouth and sort of decide whether to tear it off or not. She's a good dog, She's a lot of dog, but we really did work it out. It was a very challenging training experience. It was about a year, really, before I got her into the house. It was a Christmas present for Maria. I got her into the house on Christmas Eve.
And what's the relationship like now? Pretty close?
Yes, Frieda's great. Frieda's very, very loving of of the people around her. She protects the farm, and her mission is to keep trucks away. Seems to be that's her mission now. And no one gets through the door. And she's also like my writing dog. She sits in front of my study when I'm working and kind of guards the door. And nobody bothers me. It's really very nice. Nobody bothers me.
And she's the muse of your last book.
She is. She says she prompted a book, The Second Chance Dog, which is the story of how she and Marie and I all came together and were thrown together in this kind of awful winter and put it all together. And it's a happy story. You know, it all worked out. I got married. Marie and I got married several years ago, and very happily.
And you're back on top of the world.
I am back. I still have no money, but I'm very happy.
Have you pitched this story? Have you pitched this story to a movie studio? Because this is a fantastic movie.
I haven't really. I think that would be great, but I haven't really. I mean, my agent, I'm sure, is thinking about it, but I love the story, because it is a happy story. I was able to trace Frieda's life using my blog and researching it, and I found out that when she was a junkyard dog, she actually saved the life of a family whose house caught fire. She went crazy barking and woke everybody up and got all the kids out. I brought them back to meet them, and it's a great reunion. And it's one of those great stories. I mean, she's quite a dog. She's like a Disney dog. I took her back to the Adirondacks, and it's hard to imagine how she could have survived up there. But she's the kind of dog, when she goes after something, she usually brings it home. Children, small cars, trucks. But she's always catching raccoons and porcupines and skunks.
Catches porcupines. Now that's a smart dog.
She's calmed down a lot, and she and Maria have the most beautiful relationship. They just adore each other, and I'm actually bringing her to my book launch reading. We'll see what happens. See who survives all of that. She's entitled to it.
How old is Frieda now?
We don't know for sure. She's probably 10 or 11 now. She's got a little bit of gray around the muzzle, but she hasn't lost much of her Friedaness. She's still, and she does a lot of barking and she's very, very. She keeps the farm safe. That's kind of her mission. She gets on very well now with the other dogs. We do keep her away from the sheep, which probably is a good idea. But I'm crazy about her. I mean, we have definitely worked it out. It's two very loyal and loving breeds, and I really hadn't been around either one of them. I tend to be wary of dogs like that. It's a lot of dog. But when they love you, they really love you.
I'm telling you, man, that is just the best movie I've ever heard. I mean, I can see it. As you're speaking, I see it.
Nice.
Well, Alan, who should play John?
Brad Pitt.
I had one movie made of me, of a dog ear. Jeff Bridges played me.
Oh, really?
Wow.
What movie was that?
Because he looks like me.
Well, which one was that?
That was a dog ear. He did an HBO movie about that book. And that movie thing is kind of crazy. I'm not sure I would wish that thing on. Those people are really nuts. You think I'm crazy? Those people are really out there.
Well, it is a superb book. I'm going to give out 10 copies right now. The Second Chance Dog. It's a love story, the latest from Jon Katz. If you're not one of the first 10 callers to get on through, head on over to your bookstore or Amazon and look for The Second Chance Dog, the love story by Jon Katz. John, thanks so much for hanging with us again.
It's a pleasure. And if people who want to see Frieda, there's a video link at the end of the book at bedlamfarm.com where they can see her. I did a video of her life now. And they can take a look at her.
Oh, very cool. Judy, can you put that link up at the website?
I will.
Thanks so much, John.
Great talking to you again. I appreciate it.
We'll do it again sometime soon.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Brandon McMillan on Animal Radio, and be sure to adopt and not shop.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. 800-880-3141. That's 800-880-3141.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dog father, Joey Villani. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's, you know what? It's beautiful out, and I'm doing good.
Would you believe we're only 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. It seems like from kindergarten until senior in high school took forever, and then from that point on, just went in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, my neighbors already got all their snowman out and all their Christmas decorations.
Oh, yeah. You see in the stores, everything.
Yeah,
well,
that's
Black Friday is less than 2 weeks away.
Well, don't they do that early?
Yep.
I don't know.
That's right.
That's weird.
So what's going on in your world?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we had a rough flea season this year. A lot of fleas. And we're having a lot of lingering effects of fleas. So, what you would think would be lingering effects, and it's not. And that's something I want to talk about. A lot of times, dogs that have fleas, and it only takes one flea, you have a dog that's sensitive. It's almost like, is anyone here allergic to shellfish? Everyone can eat shellfish, and then you have the one person in the room that cannot.
My dad.
Well, you know what? That's the same way with fleas. Some dogs can tolerate it, and cats, and some dogs and cats cannot. The scientific terminology is flea bite dermatitis. And the easiest way to find out if your pet has fleas or not is put down a white paper towel, or if your dog is big, a white towel, and spray it down with some rubbing alcohol, but you want to get it pretty nice and damp. And then just run your hand over your dog or cat's coat. Now, what's going to happen is the flea dirt, which is the droppings the fleas leave behind, which is really dried blood, is going to fall down into the towel. And what's going to happen is going to hydrate it. So all of a sudden you're going to have a blood spot. So you're going to know, if you have that your pet has fleas. If you don't see any of that, chances are your pet doesn't have fleas. And what the lingering effect is the allergic reaction from the saliva from the flea. Oh. That sometimes will only last a short period of time, but the problem was your pet has been scratching. So what they did is they irritated themselves. They made it worse, and then they continue to scratch until you really just have a bloody mess that becomes, usually infected or more irritated and needs treatment. There's a couple of easy ways to take care of this. Number one, once the flea bites your pet, if it's allergic, there's not too much you can do. But you can either go to your veterinarian, and they'll probably give your pet a shot of cortisone, which is the most effective way, or you could talk to the veterinarian and find out how much Benadryl your pet would need to counteract the problem, because Benadryl is safe for pets, depending on the dosage, and I'm not going to give dosages over the radio because, number one, I'm not a veterinarian. I just want, be safe. And the other thing they make is they make cortisone shampoo products now, okay, that have hydrocortisone in them, and they work really, really well. So what you could do is you could try that. If your dog isn't all that allergic, just slightly, you can use that and probably get away with it. You can bring it to your groomer, and sometimes your groomers may have it. I used to use it all the time, and it worked wonders. And that'll stop your pet from itching. But if you don't take care of the problem, what's going to end up happening, like I said, it's just going to make it a lot worse. You're going to have a bigger problem with a bigger vet bill, at the end of the day. So it's easy. Take care of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dog father, Joey Villani on Animal Radio.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is
Animal Radio, baby.
Let's go to Vadine. Is it Vadine? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, you do.
How are you doing today?
Okay, and you guys?
absolutely splendid.
We were talking to somebody with a hidden location. I think that's what I need for my dog.
Oh, yeah. What's going on with your dog?
Well, it's a little puppy, 3 months old. Sunderland, it's a beautiful doggy, but he's so bully and so strong, chewing my feet, chewing my legs. I mean, chewing like everything I have. Chewing. He's strong. The guy is small, but he's pretty sharp. And,
hey, does he have a lot of toys?
He got plenty of toys, but I think he likes my hands and feet better than toys.
He likes your hands and feet, yeah. He's teething. You know, when they're little like that, they teeth just like little babies, human babies. Right. They're losing their little baby dog teeth, and so they're trying to alleviate that pain. But they also love to chew on just about everything. Puppies love to chew on stuff, and it's kind of like you have to be a teacher now. And that's the fun part of having a puppy. A lot of folks, when they go to get a puppy, they don't realize that you are the puppy's guide, mentor, teacher, and also the puppy's leader. And it's up to you to, in a positive way, teach a puppy what is right and what is wrong. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of repetition. And also, the biggest help to every person is to remember that it all starts at the leash. Taking your puppy for long half-hour walks, really stressful walks to where he can get a lot of energy out. And when you get back from that walk and you're determined, when you're ready to show the puppy attention, as soon as he goes to chew on your hand or your foot, you give him a gentle correction. It could just be a sound, just to redirect his mind. You know, a sound like shh or hey, and he'll stop for a second.
That's what I do, but he just bullies. The more I do it, the more he chews.
Well, then you know what you got to do, buddy? Don't show him any attention at all. When he does that, when he comes for you, just get up quickly and walk away. Turn your back on him and walk away. And he's going to be confused for a while. And also, the other important thing to remember, because he is a puppy, is that whenever he's doing something you like, notice it and praise him for it. So, in other words, if he's sitting there all by himself still, you praise him for it, and you tell him what a good dog is. Another thing to be aware of is to try to notice the times of the day he's most active. Like, let's say there's a specific time each day when he really goes nuts chewing on stuff. That's when you get ready to stimulate him with treats and praise and toys, and that's when you really want to take him for a walk, too, to tire him out. Because there will be certain times of the day where he really wants to go at it, you know. But it's real normal. The other thing, so he doesn't get bored with his toys, is to rotate his toys. Introduce them, take them away, put new ones in the game, so that he doesn't get bored with the same toys over and over. But understand, this is going to take some time. It's going to take you like 3-4 months to teach him that, hey, you can't chew this, you can chew that. You got to be patient, consistent, and praise him when he's doing the right thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The thing is, he's with my wife all day long, and I come from work at night.
Well, she's going to have to learn to do.
Yeah, well, he's very active during the day, but he sleeps. But I know pretty time when he's active.
That's awesome that he sleeps. If she can take him out right after he wakes up, if she can just put a leash on him and take him for a nice, big, long walk to tire him out, he's going to chew a little bit less. Again, he is teething, so, I mean, he's going to be, you know, and he is learning about the world, too. So, you know, the more that you can stick things in his mouth that he's allowed to chew and praise him for chewing those things and give him a treat, the quicker he's going to learn. And you all have to do that, you and your wife.
I told him I to enjoy him, but a lot of times he's getting too bully. You know, he's 35 pounds already. He's 3 months old.
Well, you know, the other thing you can do is when he gets a little bit rambunctious like that, is to put him in his crate until he mellows out. When he mellows out, you tell him he's a good dog, and then you let him out again. So that each time he gets a little bit too wound up, he goes in his crate, he goes in his kennel. And he'll start to figure out, hey, if I want to be outside of my kennel with my pack, well, then I've got to be a good, mellow boy.
I wanted just to mention that not to have him kind of ruin his own training. You know how like a lot of guys do this, where they grab their puppy and they go and they grab their hand and they rub it on the head.
That's the wrong thing to do. Absolutely, that's the wrong thing to do, because what you're doing is you're getting the puppy revved up even more, and you're not teaching him anything. You're just getting him more excited and more out of control. So that's a great point, Deb.
That's okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, Vadim, where are you from? Are you from Russia?
Oh, gee. If see the movie The Russians Are Coming? They're here already.
I got to ask you. I kind of figured that. You must know some good hangover cures.
Right.
Because I had a little too much wine last night.
You know that pickles? You know that pickled pickles?
Pickles?
The juice. Yeah, the juice.
Really? I'll give that a try.
The pickle juice.
Pickle juice and oysters are the recommendations so far. So I'm gonna have a great lunch or I don't know. Well, thank you for calling, Vadim. We appreciate it.
Was that the point you were making, Deb? I'm sorry I interrupted you, but that's a great point.
Yeah, no, just how people always kind of go, rough.
And then they want to turn them off like it's a toy or something, get them all revved up and then, okay, enough, stop. Yeah, people do that all the time. It drives me crazy. I was telling the story a couple weeks ago. There's a guy in the park doing that to my dog. Can I pet your dog? I'm like, sure. And he started doing that to my dog. And, of course, my dog, there's different personalities. Like I was telling before, I was talking about dogs that like to get along, and they're kind of like you call them like fixers or get along withers. And then there's independent thinker dogs, powerful breeds. And my dog's a powerful breed, and he wants to climb all over this guy and take him down. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that.
Well, that was jam-packed. I want to thank Dr. Marty Becker, Elise Kirchner, and Jon Katz for all joining us today. Be sure to check out Dr. Debbie's books, Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. This is the must-have owner's manual. If you have one of these breeds, we'll put links over at animalradio.com. Just in time, I'm losing my voice.
Hurry, quit now while we're ahead.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio
Network.